tell a story to someone, mastering the grammar topics is very important in order to deliver the right message. It doesn't matter if you are among friends, talking about vacation last year, or telling a future employer the story of your career. It is crucial to know some things so you won't be misunderstood. Let's study? Every time we tell a story, we usually focus on vocabulary, but sometimes grammar is as important as vocabulary because it helps us convey a certain meaning. So let's take a look at the grammar behind the story. First of all, let's talk about the most common verb tense in telling a story, which is past simple. As the name says, it's simple. So it's used when an action is over, it was a one-time thing, and usually it has a time marker, like yesterday, last week, last year, an hour ago, or things like that. We can have it both ways, with regular verbs, which we put only ed or d in the end, as it goes for work. I worked really hard on this project. He didn't study a lot for the math test. In the negative and in the interrogative forms, we use did as the auxiliary. So did is already showing that the sentence is in the past. So we don't need to put ed in the verb. We don't need to organize the verb, let's say like that. So we just put it, did or didn't, and the verb, the main verb, still the same. He didn't study a lot for the math test. And in the question, did you want a car? You can also have irregular verbs, which use the second column of the most famous chart every English student has, the irregular verb chart. So the second column is for the past simple. Like the verb know, we can use like they knew I wanted a car. He gave me a book, for example. Now in this case, we also use did as an auxiliary. Did is an irregular verb, that's why it's not do anymore, it's did. So he wasn't a tall kid is using the verb to be. So it's not using, let's say like this, an auxiliary because it's to be. But if I want to use another verb, I have to use didn't as well. I didn't know you were coming. I didn't fall off my bike. Okay? Did your parents give you a birthday present? So I'm using the auxiliary did and the verb give remains the same. But if I'm saying this very sentence in the affirmative form, I would say your parents gave you a birthday present. Alright? Let's move on. The next verb tense we have is the past continuous. Again, it's showing something in the past. All of the situations in this video are from the past, but it shows an action that was interrupted. Or maybe, now that we are looking from the present, we are looking in the middle of the progress of the action. You know, something that happened, but we are looking in the middle of the action. I was washing my hands when you called. I am not washing my hands now, so probably I stopped when you called. But this is what I was doing when you called. So the action was interrupted or it was happening when another thing happened. Okay? Here, in this case, for the past continuous, as any other continuous tense, we have to use the verb to be plus another verb with ing. As it is past continuous, to be is in the past, so I use was or were. And the other verb, whatever it is, goes with the ing in the end. And as verb to be controls itself, it doesn't need any other auxiliary. Tina wasn't studying that day. I could say we weren't doing homework last night. It's another example. And in the question, the to be verb goes in the beginning. Were they having dinner together? Next verb tense we have is present perfect. It is not that common to use that when we are telling a story because the story is finished, and the present perfect shows something that happened in the past but is still related to the present. That's why it's not so common, but it is still good to review that. So, for the present perfect, what we have is have as an auxiliary and another verb in the third column of the very same famous table you probably have. I visited my grandma this week. I have visited my grandma this week. She hasn't been there yet. As we are talking about present perfect, okay? Present means that the auxiliary is in the present. Perfect in grammar means something in the past. So, present perfect has the auxiliary has been because it's the verb in the past, so we use the past participle, the third column of the chart. Have you ever seen the rain coming down on a sunny day? This is a song. Do you know it? Google it if you don't. Okay, next one we have present perfect continuous. Just to mix up a little your mind. Present perfect, remember, present, have or has as auxiliary, perfect, third column, continuous, something with ing in the end. A mixture of present continuous and present perfect. So something that was happening in the past and is still related to the present. I have been reading many interesting books recently. Look, I have as an auxiliary, been, which is part of the continuous form, but be in the past participle, have been reading with the ing. It means that in the recent past or in the last weeks, I have been reading books, interesting books. He hasn't been acting like himself. He hasn't. Again, present, so the auxiliary is in the present. Have you been working out? Now, this one is very important. It's the past perfect. Now, imagine two things you did this morning. Okay? Probably you did one thing and then you did the other. Okay? They weren't at the same time. So past perfect refers to the oldest of two things that happened in the past. So we use this structure for the oldest thing. Let's say that you got up this morning. After you got up, you had breakfast. Because of course you can't have breakfast if you are sleeping. So you got up and you had breakfast. We can use had as our auxiliary, had in the past, as it is perfect, the past participle. So, I had taken a shower when he arrived. I took a shower after he arrived. Two separate things in the past, one happened before. Which one? I took a shower. So this goes with had taken. I had taken a shower and after that he arrived. He hadn't eaten dinner by the time his mother came home, which means that when she arrived, he hadn't eaten dinner yet. So two things. One didn't happen in this case, but still past perfect. What had you done that night? I'm looking at you, man. What had you done that night? Our last verb tense of the day is the past perfect continuous. So we have just seen that past perfect refers to the oldest of two things that happened in the past. And continuous means that it was in progress when the second thing happened. So, I had been taking guitar lessons when I went to college, which means that I was taking guitar lessons and then I went to college. But now I am not at college anymore, I'm not taking guitar lessons anymore, so both things are in the past. He hadn't been feeling well when he went to the doctor. It was in progress. When he decided to go to the doctor, he wasn't already feeling well, so he was feeling bad. That's why he decided to go to the doctor. What had you been doing that night? I knew it. I knew that you were doing something bad when I saw you, but now I want to know what had you been doing that night. Okay, guys, I hope you have understood this. I hope you have no more questions. And if you do, please leave a comment here. See you next time!